Hey everyone, this is Gnogot, and today I wanted to just bring you a Dracotail combo guide. Now this deck doesn't have the most complicated combos in the world, but I figured I'm just going to make this video so that we're all on the same wavelength when it comes to these lines, when we're referring to the Seals line, the Cartesia line, and so on and so forth. This will mostly be pure Dracotail. I will include one combo for the Shaddoll variant and one combo for a branded variant, which has minimal branded package like deck profile that I posted. So we also have 5 cards in hand here, just so we can track hand size during these combos. And we're going to start with the 1.5 combo with Lukias and any monster in your hand. So we're going to normal summon the Lukias, and that'll grab you the 5 mana. And we're going to use 5 mana to fuse Lukias plus any card in our hand. Now, usually if you have other Dracotails in your names, you want to leave the Lukias on board, but we'll get to that combo later. We're going to summon the Athalion, and that'll trigger 2 effects. You're going to go Chain Link 1 Athalion, Chain Link 2 Lukias. Nobody plays Skullmeister, so we're going to do it like this in case they have Songs of the Dominators. So this is chain blocked. The Lukias is going to set you the Rahu, and the Athalion targeted the 5 mana, so we're going to grab this back to hand. Now, we only use the effect of 5 mana to fuse, not the effect as the fusion material. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Rahu with the 5 mana and an Urgula from our deck to summon Gulamel. Now this will trigger both 5 mana and Urgula, and we are going to get from our deck the Flame and the Horn as our traps. And lastly, we're going to use the Urgula, targeting the 5 mana in the grave, get it back to our hand, and put this under the deck. This is what you end up with. We have 3 hand traps here. We have the 5 mana. We have this just as a body, it doesn't do anything, and we have the Gulamel, and we are gonna be able to Horn and Flame to draw more cards, unless this gets ashed or belled. Now, should we not draw any other monsters in this scenario to fuse with the 5 mana? We can always go one of these traps and use the Gulamel to pop when they are not chain blocked. And we can also, at some point, go with 5 mana effect. If this hasn't gone through with a pop, you can just 5 mana and try to pop there. That's 3 tries. And you have 2 options. You can either go, if you don't draw any other monster that's relevant, Spellcaster plus Dragon for the Mysterion or Secretarian Dragon. Or what you're more likely are going to do is just fuse the Athalion with some cards in your hand to make a second one and bounce some cards from either your graveyard or your opponent's field. So that is the simple 1-card combo. Let's go into more interesting combos. Next up, we have the combo where you have Lukias and any other name. If this is, let's say, a 5 mana, you're obviously going to grab something else with the Lukias. Having the 5 mana here also makes you more resilient, because if this gets impermed and you have the 5 mana in hand, you can chain it and just go with the line we had before. But let's say this goes through. We normal summon the Lukias. We are adding the 5 mana, and now we are using the 5 mana, and this time we leave the Lukias on board, because that'll improve our board significantly. We've used 2 cards from our hand, a Dracotail and any other card, for Athalion. Now again, we have the chains, Chain Link 1 and Chain Link 2. Depending on what monster you sent, you can decide what you want to grab back. Now, in this case, this was a Fuvalos, so the Athalion should target your Dracotail name, just so that you have it back. In this example, you would have the 5 mana on the opponent's turn and the Mululu to negate. But if this was, for example, a Droll, and that's really good in the matchup, you just get the Droll back and leave the Mululu here. But we're going to do this, and the Mululu is going to set us a Rahu from the deck. Now, before we activate Rahu, Rahu locks you into fusions for the rest of the turn, so everything you do before that is fair game. So what you want to do is link off the Lukias, go into the Spirit, and then Spirit and Athalion into Seals. You need to go into the Spirit first, obviously, because you need 2 dragons, but the Spirit is a nice way of turning your Spellcaster into a dragon. And then, just like the other combo, you're going to use Rahu, and you're going to use the 5 mana that you haven't used yet with the Urgula to fusion summon into a Gulamel. And that'll trigger the grave effects to get you your traps, and the Urgula can put itself under the deck to grab back the 5 mana. Now you have Seals on board. like instead of the Arthalion. Also putting the Arthalion in the grave, which is really nice because at any point when your opponent links 2 monsters away or fusion summons or whatever, you can activate this effect in the grave. If they don't react to it, Gulamel, pop their link. And Seals can summon from the deck any dragon. Most of the time you're going to summon a Mululu because that'll just get you another fusion on your opponent's turn. So if you didn't start with Mululu, but for example with Pan, that'll get you a Mululu fusing with a Pan, and you have a pop and a negate. So that is the Seals line in Engine, and let's go with the next combo. Next up we have a combo with King of the Swamp. Now King of the Swamp works with any name, kinda, but it is most potent with the Lukias. So I wanted to show you that combo. So we have Lukias and King of the Swamp. You can normal summon the Lukias. You should start with normal summoning Lukias because if they run Droll, getting Drolled here you don't care. You just go for a smaller combo. But if you don't get Drolled, you can then use the King of the Swamp in your hand to get a polymerization, and then use the polymerization, fusing the 5 mana and any monster in your hand to summon the Arthalion. Now, again, chaining 1 Arthalion, chaining 2 5 mana. And here again, you have a choice. Do you want the hand trap that you discarded? If it's a Fuva, you probably don't. Or do you want the King of the Swamp? You always take the 5 mana back. And in this case, we would take the King of the Swamp back, which is very neat later on. You get these 2 back, and the 5 mana will set you a Rahu. We know this part. And then you can again go link these 2 into Seals, and from here on out you can Rahu. You already used the 5 mana, so just use any other card. If this is all live hand traps, then just use the King of the Swamp. But if you can, keep the King of your Swamp in your hand because that has some applications for later. You're going to send the second Fualos and an Urgula to make Gulamel. Urgula triggers and gets you either one of these traps. So you only get 1 trap here. Whatever trap is more important to you in this matchup, you want here. Oftentimes the Flame is the best. I'm going to set the Flame. And now the Urgula in the grave you can use to grab back the Lukias, which is neat. And that is the board. Now, what's cool here is that because we kept the King of the Swamp here in hand, sometimes what we can do is we use the Seal, we use the Gulamel. We can use the 5 mana and use any like effect dragon monster. Let's say we got the any monster. This is just Mululu, whatever. You can use the 5 mana and fuse that with the King of the Swamp and go into your Dragoon, for example. So that's really neat about the King of the Swamp line. And let's hop into the next combo. Next up, I wanted to show you the Shaddoll Combo. That is any way to start your combo and a Hedgehog or a Squamata. Beast doesn't work here unless you have like another Dark in your hand, then that works too. But what you want to do here is, we're just going with the standard line here. Obviously, if you have one of the previous lines, then you just do that while using the Shaddolls as material. But in the 1.5 combo, you go Lukias, you grab the 5 mana, you use the 5 mana, and you're going to fuse the Lukias, the Hedgehog, and any other card in your hand. That is important. That is multiple materials, 3 materials here, 2 from hand, to go into Arthalion. Now what you're going to do, chain link 1 Arthalion, and you're going to target both the 5 mana and the Hedgehog. Chain link 2 the Lukias to set, and chain link 3 the Hedgehog. No, other way around. This can get ashed, so you go chain link 2 this and chain link 3 this. So the Lukias will set you a Rahu, and the Hedgehog will get you a Shaddoll Beast to hand, while the Arthalion grabs you back 2 cards. So you are at this game state, and just like the normal line, you go Rahu here, fusing your 5 mana that hasn't been fused yet, and the Urgula into Gulamel, which will then get you your 2 traps, and your Urgula can then grab you back the 5 mana, which is very important here. Now you can pass with this, and this way you have gotten 2 Shaddolls in hand. So during your opponent's turn, they activate an effect that summons, you go 5 mana, you fuse these 2, and you go into Winda. That'll trigger the Hedgehog and the Beast as well, so you can get a draw, get a search, And now you have a window on board, which you can protect with your 2 traps and your Gulamel. Now for the last line, I wanted to show you, in my opinion, one of the most important lines, and that is the Cartesia line. This is why I play this at 3, and I just wanted to show you why. So this is Cartesia plus a name. Preferably it's 5 mana. If it's Lukias, that's also good. So Spellcaster is nice, but any other name works. You just get less out of it. So we are going to normal summon Cartesia. Even like if your hand is just the Cartesia plus Lukias plus 3 hand traps, I would summon Cartesia, because if they imperm Lukias, you pass on nothing. If they imperm Cartesia, you can try to fuse again on your opponent's turn. But we are going to use Cartesia here. Now we're going to fuse our Dracotail name and a card in our hand. And again, make our Arthalion, which has now been made with 2 materials from hand. So we can just grab these 2 back, and we also trigger the 5 mana to grab our Rahu. So we grab these 2 back. And since Cartesia is a spellcaster, we can link her off into Spirit and make our seals with it. Now, Cartesia is a very good seals enabler, and we can also go Rahu in this case. And let's just put the 5 mana with the Urgula to summon Gulamel. That'll trigger the Urgula because we already used 5 mana. And here you can set a trap of your choice, or if you don't have your 5 mana in rotation yet, what you can do is you can set the key to and forego the traps for a more safe interrupt, being the 5 mana. But in this case, we started with 5 mana, so we sent the Urgula, we set the flame, and we can go Urgula, grab back the 5 mana, and that'll be our board. We proceed to end phase, and what's cool here is that because our Arthalion has gone to the grave, we can grab back Cartesia from our hand, so we are passing with 5 cards in our hand. These hopefully being useful hand traps and not just Fuvalos. And then we have the seals, which can go into Mululu, which can trigger the Gulamel to pop, and also fuse, and then also negate something, and so on and so forth. And if you fuse away the Cartesia and fusion material lands in the grave, then you can grab this back for your next turn as well. Now, here you have a lot of options. Now, this is the branded part of the whole combo. If you are unbranded, you can sometimes opt to not get Mululu, but instead with the seals, go and grab your Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz can then discard, let's say the Cartesia, that's a free discard, fuse with the opponent with to a Mirror Jade. And a Mirror Jade can send your Albion, and that'll put a fusion in the grave, which also searches your branded fusion, and the Cartesia will come back to your hand. And Mirror Jade is really, really strong in this format. I wanted to mention in the deck profile, but I didn't. But if you are fighting for board, and you are against, like most of the time, the opponents are breaking your board and they'll leave a board, right? But they have a hard time just straight up killing you here. Mirror Jade against Yummy or Vanquish Soul, if they remove it, and it's not like a Mad Love bounce, they lose their board in the end phase. That's very important. Now, one thing you can do here, where you can pivot, which is a bit toxic, but let's say you go Fallen of Albaz. I don't know if you use the effect or not, but they droplet it or something. You can sometimes, if it's right in the matchup, just go 5 mana and fuse your Cartesia, which you have from the combo, and your Albaz, and you go into Albion the Sanctifier Dragon, which can then go and activate its effect. And you just pick your graveyard, and hey, you haven't used the on-field effect of Cartesia yet. So if you have a Dracotail in your hand, right, let's just get this, have more interruptions, and what you do is you give your opponent the Spirit, and now they are locked into summoning dragons. For this combo, by the way, it's very smart to just summon all of your monsters in defense so that they can't crash into it. And for anything else, you have a Dracotail Flame to negate a spell. Can't negate the cost of droplet, sadly, so they can still droplet send this away, which is the best out. But still, very, very annoying lock. This card should not be legal. So that is it for the branded part of the combo. Now, obviously, if you don't run this whole package, just go Summon Muluru, also very, very strong, will also get you more follow-up. Then the Sanctifier combo, because as you have seen, you haven't used a fusion with a Dracotail yet. But that is it for the combo video. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you liked these combos. If you have a combo that you want to link, just put a replay down below. I'll look at it. If you want to talk to me about lines, you can join my Discord. It's in the description. And I will see you next time.